Hey guys, Harrison101 back at it once again for a brand new video for you, and welcome to episode 15 of the Online Racer for Formula 1 2012, featuring online gameplay, general anarchy, and generally F1 related topics. Now, this is a commentary I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I've never quite had the time or the final motivation to get around and doing it, but I thought now would be the right time to start talking about this, and it's something I've noticed over the last couple of years as a fan of the sport. And the guy's been watching for a while, and I thought now would be a good time to talk about it and see what you guys think of the whole thing, because it's interesting. And to me, as a long-time viewer, I'm sure some older viewers will relate to this as well. For those guys who don't know, I'm 21 years old on Saturday, August the 17th, 2013, if you're watching this at a different time. So I'm 20 years old now, I'm about to be 21, touch wood. I've been watching Formula 1 since about 2000, so this is probably my 13th or 14th season watching. And in that time, as I've gotten older, not only has my understanding of the sport changed, also I think the way we fans picture the sport has definitely changed as well. I'm going to be honest, when I was growing up in school, watching, Formula 1 as a young... I don't know if it was the same in your playground and all that, but to me, we were all crazy Schumacher fanboys. Like, there was no other way. Nobody supported anybody else. There was none of that. Maybe it's because we were all young children, like maybe like 10 years old. We were all obsessed with Ferrari, the beautiful red Ferrari car, and Michael Schumacher just being this amazing German that kept on winning. That's how we all were as kids. Like, a decade later, I'm now watching this sport, and it's so different. There's been a lot of changes to the sport over the years. When you think about, the rules, the drivers, the way people get employed, the cars and whatnot. There's been a lot of changes, but I think the biggest change to hit Formula 1 over the years, and this one's been more gradual, has been media. The media, from a social standpoint, from a broadcasting standpoint, and from us as fans. I think that's been the biggest change to the sport over the years, because ever since F1 has grown in terms of popularity the last few years, more and more people have picked up on it. The BBC getting Formula 1 right, I think it was 2009, I want to say, 08 or 09. More people started watching. I mean, we got to the point last year where there was 5 million people watching every Formula 1 race in this country alone on BBC, let alone people on Sky as well, when Sky picked up the rights a couple of years ago. It's one of those things where as well is that the rise of the internet has been a huge reason for this as well. I mean, 10 years ago, maybe in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, people were still barely using the internet. It was expensive. And it clashed with the phone lines, so people weren't using it that much. And websites full-on coverage, covering Formula 1 were sparse. I had to find like little private internet forums as like an 11-year-old kid to talk about Formula 1 with people, and my spelling was terrible. Kids and social media these days and whatnot. But with the rise of Facebook, with the rise of Twitter, with the rise of YouTube and other forums and sites now specifically covering Formula 1, the way the sport is calibrated now, people are meant to be talking about this sport more. And that's a good thing, because it makes the sport more popular and more people are talking about it. And the way the sport is calibrated now, especially in terms of the FIA and the broadcasting units, like, the way it is now, people want us to be more opinionated. Look at, for example, Sky or BBC, especially Sky. Sky really milked this. Hashtags on TV. It's a growing trend when it comes to television in general, where more shows will have their own specific hashtag, so people will talk about it on Twitter. For example, like you'll have the Sky F1 hashtag, and you have the Martin's Grid Walk hashtag, and blah blah blah. People want they want people to chip in with their opinions, and it's the same thing with the FIA. The FIA, for instance. They broadcast team radios now, and that's something that didn't used to happen earlier on in the decade. And I'm sure, obviously, part of the reason why they broadcast team radios is not only because, we want to know more information about the race from a driver's standpoint or whatnot, from what the teams are saying. Because sometimes the teams can block out those radios. They have a private button where they don't, where they know if they push it, their radio broadcast won't be, broadcast to TV and whatnot. But it's also so that the FIA, for instance, can make people care. Formula One is at some point a giant soap opera anyway. Look at last year, towards the end of last year, with Fernando Alonso stealing all the headlines, because the way that the media was calibrated, they were generating Alonso into a bigger story than what it really was. People were saying like, "Oh, would Alonso create this historical comeback?" And like, it wasn't a comeback. He led the championship by 40 points at one point. And they're saying, "Oh, the Ferrari car is terrible. Can Alonso drag it to a world championship?" No, he won 4 races that year, and the team had 400 points. It wasn't a bad car. But the media were determined to try and create a story and create some headlines because, they didn't want Vettel to win another boring world title. And I understand that. The fans understood that too, which is why they all got behind Alonso, for the sake of entertainment and whatnot. Ultimately, the FIA want people to care, because if people care, they'll tune in to watch, or they'll spend their money to watch. That's what reality TV show producers do. They basically try and come out with a whole heap of controversial and eye-provoking shit so that you'll watch. That's how Keeping Up with the Kardashians, for example, is still so popular on TV, on the Geordie Shore, the Valleys, and all those other terrible British reality or American reality TV shows that you get all over the place on cable and whatnot. Getting people to care is important, and the FIA wants to do that, because getting people to care will get viewers tuning in, which is what they're at risk of alienating. For example, when Michael Schumacher started winning all those world titles, the viewing figures for Formula One plummeted. Why? The casual fans got bored. They got bored of seeing Schumacher win all the time, so they had to change the rules to the point where the tyres have got to last a whole race, which favoured Michelin. Fryers on Bridgestone. It was a way of trying to balance out the field. Simple as that. And, the FIA are going to change the rules again, and I think part of the reason is because they don't want Vettel to dominate all the time. It's the same thing there. So, like I said, Formula One can kind of be like a reality TV show sometimes as well. And, us talking about it on the internet and online, that's good for the sport. It generates attention. That's what people will never understand. Not to mention, on top of that, journalism, as well as broadcasting, as had a huge boost from the rise of the internet and Formula One and whatnot. Like, because we're now all using the internet more often, look at the opportunities that are now being handed out for people like that. For instance, forums are getting bigger. More people are generating blogs and talking about the sport. I know people on Twitter that have over 3,000 followers on Twitter just because they have a Formula One blog, and they're talking about it on their website now and again. Like, people feed off those opinionated stuff and things like that. Look at YouTube. YouTube is a prime example of that now itself, where, our headlining guy in the community has 35,000 subscribers, nearly more than 10 times what I've got. It's an opportunity which is getting bigger, and more people are using us to get involved, and more people are getting their opinions out there and exposing the sport of Formula One to a larger audience, even in the most subtle of ways, like on YouTube, for example. And it's one of those things where the opportunities are bigger, more people are talking about it, and the fans are more vocal because we have the opportunity to be more vocal. On like I said, on your Facebooks, on your Twitters, on your YouTubes, on your blogs, it's all there. And like I said, the TVs and the TV broadcasting units, they all know that, and they want people to chip in with their opinions. They want people to get involved, because we feel like, oh yeah, we might get our stuff on the telly, and they're thinking like, great, more ratings. Everybody wins, and it's something that I've seen happen with my own eyes as becoming a YouTuber and whatnot, and me having a more journalistic approach to YouTube, which is something that not very many people do. A lot of people have their own slant on Formula One. Some broadcast news, some are really, really good at the game, and they'll just go out there and do league races and have amazing pace and have their own ideas and whatnot. Me, I'm pretty sure you've come to the conclusion that by now that I'm more opinionated and more journalistic when it comes to these kind of things. I want to be the #1 opinionated, YouTuber. When it comes to motorsport now, that's one of my goals because I know that's what I specialize in and that's what I'm really good at. And YouTube has given me that opportunity to do that because of Formula One, because of the growing popularity of the sport. I thought, there's an audience for this. There could be a market for this somewhere. That's why I decided to end up joining Formula One not as a broadcaster, but as a YouTuber, but which in a way it is kind of broadcasting too. It's a form of it, that's for sure. It's a form of media, just like reading a newspaper or going on a website or looking at a blog or even tweeting somebody. It's all a media. It's all things that can be seen, published, and viewed. And it's amazing to see how much it's changed over the last 10 years. Like I said, I'm sure in terms of how the sport is operated and money-wise and things like that, that there's bigger changes and whatnot in terms of the whole pay driver thing, in terms of tires, in terms of the rules constantly changing to benefit entertainment. Those are stuff for another video, but you can see what I'm saying, right? I think the way the sport is broadcasted, the way we pick up on it as fans, I think the loss of Schumacher has made us all develop into liking other people and getting people to be more vocal on the internet and whatnot. It's interesting to see how it's all changed over the years, and that's just something I wanted to get out there and see what other people thought, because I know you guys are great. You guys are very intelligent in your comments. You guys are constantly teaching me new things about the sport. I get better because of you guys watching. You guys always come out with good stuff. I always pick up on that. I always try and respond to people as well. You guys are all good for that kind of thing, and I really appreciate that. So, as a result, there'll be no me on here without you guys as well, because you guys enable me to make better videos. It's just, it's all the endless loop of awesome. Well, most of the time, anyway. Anywho, let me know what you thought on the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the kind of crazy gameplay, because that's just how Formula 1 is now online. It's just a lot of noobs, and just trying to salvage decent results here and there, because people, just can't drive half the time. It's unfortunate, but that's just how we do things around here. And let me know what you think of the media and, journalism and, social media and all that as it's changed in Formula 1. I'd love to hear what older guys think of this, because they've been watching as long as I have, maybe even longer. So, do you guys tell me your experiences? I'd love to hear some of them. In the meantime, I've been Harris101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.